The quantity of XRP that we discuss in this video is really substantial. We will talk about the current condition of Bitcoin, which is characterized by charts that show a multitude of potential breakouts and techniques that are aligning. The TA experts have informed us that we are well on our way to performing our next push-up. For us, the beginning of the bull run will be indicated when we are able to break past the 74,000 mark in Bitcoin. Because I have a strong feeling that we are good friends, let's jump right into Bitcoin right away. Take a seat, relax, and take pleasure in this moment. The current price of Ethereum is $2,417, which represents an increase of 86% in the past 24 hours to $6,279. It was a 2% increase over the previous day's closing price for both USDT and USDC. USDT and USDC are both closing at their respective dollar pegs, while XRP is closing at the last major figure of $589, with the main leaning towards $587. Both of these currencies are moving in the same direction. We have already indicated that Urgent has passed away. Only 24 hours have passed since the market cap of cryptocurrencies, which was $2 trillion, $1,119 billion, decreased by 11%. In addition to ZS, I am looking into this. Mr. 589, would you say that this is our second meeting? Does it occur to you that you have committed an error? What an insane idea. About 6 years ago, we were discussing the number 589. The only thing that can change the decimal look is the fact that it seems to be the XRP equivalent of a magnet to $589. Changing the position of the decimal point to the right does not indicate that the person is greedy. $589 if you are interested in keeping us moving. I am willing to provide you $589 worth of XRP with no strings attached. If there are 2 slots open, you should still offer me $58 worth of XRP. Although I won't complain about it, I am confident that you won't either. Nevertheless, when the coin is reset, how will digital currencies that are issued by central banks function? As a result of seeing this film, we are all aware of the ways in which technology is undergoing transformations in the digital realm. Furthermore, we are aware that 95% of central banks around the world are either studying, producing, or conducting research on the use of digital currencies that are issued by central banks. In addition, we have seen that China is currently in the lead in this particular domain, and Saudi Arabia has just emerged as a contender. Regarding the role that digital currencies produced by central banks will play in the reset, which is a subject that you have placed a significant amount of emphasis on over the years, what are your thoughts? You are required to have an understanding of the motor. The locating of a mechanism is the objective here. The question of how many countries will be able to exist without the United States dollar system has been the subject of numerous discussions. A currency based on the BRICS nations has been discussed, which is something that I believe is possible but will require some time to establish. In the meanwhile, we are employing a strategy that is significantly less complicated. At this point, you have brought up the BRICS project, in case you have not been aware of it. China, Thailand, and the United Arab Emirates have been working together to carry out a pilot program for the past 3 to 4 years. Every single one of these countries has created a digital currency that is solely intended for use in international trade between their respective central banks. You claim that Saudi Arabia and other countries are interested in taking part in this project. The same is true for other countries. It is my opinion that the BRICS will eventually make their way to any of the countries that are participating in the event. We use the 11 that are currently in place as well as the ones that will follow who want to be free of the US dollar system, along with the criticisms of this because they are surely in the West. You will see individuals pooping. The notion that something will be successful, you are aware of how. Jim Rickards was the one who came up with the idea, and he was the one who gave me the answer. If you were to hold Indian rupees, what would be your motivation? When you are confronted with a foreign deficit, you are aware of what to do with them. An increasing number of bilateral trade agreements are being forged by nations utilizing only their own national currencies. This is the prevalent pattern at the moment. As a means of evading participation in the monetary system of the United States, they are doing this. Let us suppose that there are 2 countries in the world. When 2 countries engage in commerce with one another, when the period is over, there is a trade imbalance that has occurred. Is it possible to find a solution to this trade deficit in order to prevent a financial crisis? Given that it is possible to settle gold with money that you do not require in bilateral trade, I do not believe that it is a coincidence that central banks outside of the West are hoarding gold at an increasing rate. It is a formula that is generally easy to understand. It's all about foreign exchange, and it's easy to do. This is the location where you will be able to collect the transactions that take place between central banks. It is possible to settle trade deficits using your gold holdings, and I feel that this is the direction that we are moving in. You settle on a quarterly basis, which means that you settle every 6 months. In my opinion, we will see an alternative currency that is going to be named Al-Alter, and it might be a brick unit. The concept of an alternative money is both fascinating and valuable, in my opinion. In the Telegraph, this appearance was published. CBDC is going to show up. The manner in which they will be utilized in this new financial system is not yet known. However, as time passes, maybe as early as the following year, and regulations come into effect, we may receive a more comprehensive explanation or acquire additional information on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is currently valued at 60,000, which indicates that it most likely has more space. Based on the findings of the researcher, it is anticipated that the key elements for risk assessment in the United States economy will continue to increase as concerns about a recession continue to exist. It is interesting to note that the worth of Bitcoin immediately becomes obvious. Bitcoin is significantly more widespread. Having said that, we are not yet clear. We have not yet left Chop City, and there are over 100,000 more on their way. He says that Bitcoin bought him the previous week, and that, based to Bob Lucas' daily cycles hypothesis, we believe that the Federal Reserve would reduce interest rates the following week. On Friday, there was a significant increase in the value of cryptocurrencies. A 1% drop to 576 was witnessed by Bitcoin on Friday, but the cryptocurrency has since recovered. According to the information presented in this article, there may be more fuel left in the tank for the ascent of Bitcoin depending on the assets. A chart for the daily cycle assessment is going to be provided to you at this moment. Mr. Bob is irritated. Let's just look at it and make some observations. It is not necessary for us to look at charts, to stare at them, or to feel pressured to perform a certain thing. Suppose we have a good understanding of the future direction charts of Bitcoin. It is quite simple to do. Everyone, including me, anticipates that Bitcoin will surpass $100,000 by the time the year comes to a close. It is expected that the outbreak will take place in a short amount of time. Although the increase in Bitcoin's value typically takes place within a period of 6 to 10 months, we are getting very close to reaching that point. Moreover, in the sense that this is not going to just move from 6,061 to 61 to 6,063, but rather, it is going to push the range of 60646 toward the forefront. We are going to go for the level between $70 and $774,000 once the stock market is broken. The entirety of this is going to take place in stages. With my fellow bears, let's celebrate this occasion. You are not required to go into hibernation, guys, or free to do so. Between the next 6 and 10 months, these markets will experience a parabolic rise, and they will be life-changing. You will most likely come across a large number of people publishing bad charts on the internet. They will begin to flip and say, "I told you so," but you know what they didn't do, because there are a lot of people on Twitter. They will say this. Who is making the claim that the bull market has reached the conclusion that we are currently in a bear market, and then these subpar means are attempting to pump and shove you during this time. Because the market is so close, you should not let yourself be tricked by these rubbish means. It comes to an end in close proximity to xrp+ripple. Check out his chart with white flang. This chart is really helpful to me. He says that in order to make things more clear, we went back and looked at the post that was published on January 20th of this year. Which subjects will he discuss in the next post that he makes? Since a considerable amount of time ago, I have been campaigning for this 75 cents unsaw. I am convinced that we must complete the transaction within the allotted time frame of 1 week. We say that we will be in dollars in an hour when we are talking about XRP, but Bitcoin would have to close. There was even the release of Maximus Prime. When he refers to the fact that, man, we are so bleeding close, his chart reveals that he is absolutely right. 75 cents, which is not precisely $32, but is still a good deal. Indeed, he is right. The first zone to travel through is 75 cents, which is approximately 74.50 cents overall. Following that, the dollar and its all-time high of $190 in the year 2020 will once again come into play. The largest resistance region will be reached once we have successfully breached that. $3 is the name that we will use to refer to this channel. The price of $2.80, which was the all-time high in 2017, and which we have not breached since then, represents a resistance region that has been in place for 7 decades. If we are successful in breaking through that resistance region, we will be able to enter the price range. However, this will be an exceedingly difficult task. Discovering what the process of price discovery entails should be done. There is no data available, thus no one can make any decisions that are based on accurate information. A lack of maps makes it impossible for anyone to forecast the path that it will take in the future. Price discovery is such an exciting and fascinating era because nobody knows where to look, since it occurs when an asset breaks through its prior all-time high and reaches heights that we have never seen before. The opportunities that are available to me with regard to my XRP are numerous.